Here's problem 7 where it wants us to solve this equation. We're going to use, and it says it wants us to use the quadratic equation to solve this. So the quadratic formula states that x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So this is the formula we want to use. Well, again, who's b, who's a, who's the c guy? They're just the values that are in front. In front of x squared is an a. In front of the x, that's your b value. And this guy right here is your c value. You always have to set it up equal to 0, not equal to some number. If it's equal to some number, you got to bring that number over to be right here with the c piece so that you have it equal to 0. So let's solve this guy. Well, what I like to do, I'm going to list what a is, what b is, what c is, and what 4 times a times c is. This is a little something I do that most teachers don't. It saves us from making a mistake right in here. So let's do it. A, well, that's easy enough. 2, I like easy problems. B, that's 8. What do we have for C? That's 5. Now, 4 times a times c. 4 times 2 is 8 times the c value. 8 times 5, that makes it 40. So now all I got to do is plug into the equation. So we have x is going to be equal to the opposite of b, opposite of 8, that's negative 8, plus or minus. Now, plus or minus means we're going to do two equations here. We're going to do negative 8 plus whatever we get, divided by the 2a, and then we're going to come and do negative 8 minus whatever we get here, divided by 2a. It's two equations. There's two solutions. Again, x squared tells you, hey, you might have two solutions here. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to separate it yet, because we're going to save a little time. We're going to separate it when we get the number smaller right here. So, we have, continue with the problem, b squared. 8 squared, that's 64, minus, now you and I got 4ac to be 40. So we put 40 in here. Divided by 2 times a. 2 times a, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So here's what we get. X is equal to the opposite of 8 plus or minus the square root. 64 minus 8, that's 24 all over 4. Okay? So you can see you're not going to get a pretty solution here. Now there's two options. We could use a calculator and get what that is. I'll go ahead and we're just going to, since I don't have a calculator on me, though we do know that that's very close to 5, because square root of 25 is 5, so it's like a 4.92 maybe. But we're not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and simplify what that is. So you and I are going to get x is equal to negative 8 plus the square root of 24 over 4, or x is equal to negative 8 minus the square root of 24 over 4. Those are our two solutions. We come in here, we use a calculator, and we can get the decimal answer here. Come in here, use a calculator, get the decimal answer here, and there we will have it. Now, we can break this down. If we wanted to be real pretty on an SAT or something where maybe they don't have it as a decimal, notice that the square root of 24 is simply, notice that's a 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, because that's 8. 8 times 3, 24. So this, you can bring a 2 out, so you're going to get 2 root 6. We've done that before. That shouldn't be new to you. So we could simplify these answers a little prettier to negative 8, watch what happens, plus 2 root 6 all over 4, or x is negative 8 minus 2 root 6 all over 4. But notice, the outside numbers, they all can be divided by 2. So we would simplify it one more time. X is equal to, that would, everybody can be divided by 2. That becomes a 2, a 1, a 4. So we have negative 4 plus root 6 over 2. It's one solution. Or, over here, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. X is negative 4, excuse me, minus 6 all over 2. And you could write this as a little different way, but that's good enough for us for today. That's how we would do it. I'm perfectly fine if on the homework you want to go ahead at this stage, get the decimal answer, this stage get the decimal answer, and give them to me that way. Perfectly fine.